along with him.
Yes, Your Majesty.
What?
And a powerful prophet named Elijah.
Go tell your master that I'm here.
Don't miss the next exciting adventure in Odyssey right here.
It's Adventures in Odyssey, and it comes your way tonight at 6:35 right here on KYCC.
Including Underground, 209-479-8105.
KYCC is sponsored by attorney Gwendolyn K. Christensen in downtown Jackson. Gwen reminds you that estate planning is wise stewardship. More information on wills, trusts, and estates can be found at theestateplanningLawCenter.com.
We are honored to dedicate a full day of broadcasting to them. Today is the Burks' 31st wedding anniversary. Way to go! Hey, congratulations, Forrest and Karen, on 31 years together. And thank you for your generous support of this radio ministry.
Your Christian companion, KYCC.
Big or small, we work with you to reach your goals. And as a not-for-profit credit union, we'll help you find better loans and rates. So owning your home is more possible than ever. So join us. Let's make your dream home happen. Equal housing opportunity. NMLS number 669333.
From using hand sanitizers to masking up. But now we have the most important tool, vaccines. They help protect our children and the entire family. And it's okay to have questions. Ask your doctor about the COVID-19 vaccine for your child, or visit vaccinateall58.com to learn more and find a vaccine near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
You know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a new LG laundry set with Turbo Wash 3D that provides a powerful yet gentle clean in just 29 minutes, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Now for just $7.78 each. Shop LG front and top load washer dryer sets with ultra large capacity and reduced wash time. Valid May 19th through June 8th. US only. Gas dryer extra while supplies last. See store for details.
At Save Mart, we think summer should be about sharing great food with family and friends without worrying about how much it costs. That's why we'll continue to give you fantastic savings all summer long. Right now, T-bone steaks are just $6.99 a pound in the Max Pack. 6-ounce packages of organic blueberries are buy one, get one free. And save big on our quality brands throughout the store. Select varieties of Craven cookies are 2 for $5. Save Mart. Valley Fresh, Valley Made, Valley Proud.
This is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance. And you better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They are experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and will fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-634-7844. 800-634-7844. 800-634-7844.
October 6th through the 9th at Discovery Park. Thursday night, Slipknot, Rob Zombie, Evanescence. Friday night, Kiss, Judas Priest, Lamb of God. Saturday night, Papa Roach, My Chemical Romance, A Day to Remember. Sunday night, Shinedown, The Pretty Reckless, Bring Me the Horizon. 4 days, over 80 bands. Find all festival info at krxq.net.
Don't let friends work out alone. Okay, they do, but they shouldn't. So why not add a friend onto your membership at InShape Health Clubs? Think about it. Say you're lifting weights, and that last rep, boom, a personal best. With a friend, let the celebrations begin. Without a friend, you're stuck trying to high-five yourself. Or maybe you just want to kick back at the InShape pool. Without a friend, forget getting sunscreen on the middle spot on your back. Take a tour or join online today at InShape.com.
To break free.
Ready to break free? Get a great deal with Norwegian's Memorial Day sale. Book today and get 70% off second guests on all cruises to Alaska, Europe, and more. Plus, enjoy free open bar, free specialty dining, free airfare for second guests, and much more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer ends soon. Norwegian Cruise Line. Sail safe. Feel free. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
This report is sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer. You've heard.
Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Get warm out there.
A savings of up to 75%. Offers good through June 7th.
Grocery outlet, bargain market.
Our produce pros work with trusted, top-quality growers, so your hand-picked fruits and vegetables are harvested at the peak of flavor and handled with care from farm to you. Come by and pick up fresh-cut, colorful produce prepared daily in our store and bursting with flavor. We meet or beat national standards, so you get the cream of the crop. Shop in store or online at Safeway.com today for delivery or for convenient curbside pickup.
Oh, this Saturday and Sunday only at the Stanislaus County Fairgrounds. The Modesto Tattoo Expo features over 100 of the world's finest tattooers, plus live music, food and beer garden, tattoo contests, vendors, and so much more. All ages welcome, so bring the family. Kids under 12 get in free. So mark your calendars. The Modesto Tattoo Expo this Saturday and Sunday only at the Stanislaus County Fairgrounds. Hosted by the Golden Rose Tattoo. Don't miss out.
In public, so we decided to sing about it.
My sweet cheeks feeling squeaky clean. When Charmin's rolling behind the scenes. Sherman TP gives me those cheeky clean feels. That ultra strong hype is all for reals. Those TV rolls got me a Charmin clean took. Cheek to cheek feeling oh so shooketh.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
And are made of microplastics that are toxic and cunning. More than 15,000 fibers lurk in every cigarette butt you see. Could they harm your families? Quite possibly. They could end up inside of you, your bodies, their prey. New studies even indicate possible links to mutations in DNA. An evil lie with a future's worth of harm. To the world, now you know, so sound the alarm. Learn more at undo.org.
Without worrying about how much it costs. That's why we'll continue to give you fantastic savings all summer long. Right now, T-bone steaks are just $6.99 a pound in the Max Pack. 6-ounce packages of organic blueberries are buy one, get one free. And save big on our quality brands throughout the store. Select varieties of Craven cookies are 2 for $5. Save Mart. Valley Fresh, Valley Made, Valley Proud.
You want speed? We deliver same or next day. You want savings? We give you supplies at a flat rate. You want less legwork? We do free pickups. Move your local business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSconnect.com/local. Specific markets, restrictions apply. Same day or next day delivery expected, but not guaranteed with entry close to final destination.
A burger and blizzard meal matchup. Today's matchup is Bryce Harper's new DQ meal with flamethrower signature stacked burger, fries, and a cookie dough blizzard versus Tim Anderson's new DQ meal with a bacon 2-cheese deluxe signature stacked burger, fries, and an Oreo blizzard. Who picks the winner? That's you. Visit DQ.com to cast your vote for which meal should be the official meal of MLB. But first, try them both today. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Welcome to the show. My name is Charleston of Big C Sports. This is Charleston of Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 show in the universe, according to me and people who love sports. Bravo Deportes, bonjour, Vini. I love saying welcome to the show. Today is a beautiful June the 1st, 2022. So many great things happening in the world of sports, and I really do appreciate we are at the halfway mark of 2022 on Big C Sports Podcast. I want to say today's show is sponsored by the Northern California Cadillac dealers. You can lay this stand up. You can buy and test drive your Tell them Charlton Big C Sports Section, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars. And all around the world, you can follow Big C Sports on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow us on Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Chaser, GeoSavant Podcast, YouTube Podcast, Hopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise Podcast, and the only one that scares me is AllFees.ai. Give the robot some praise. Hopefully they don't cancel us. You can actually turn them off. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming on Ford TV applications, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TV all over the universe. Today's show is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about the NBA playoffs coming up, and I'm going to bring on a guest by the name of Andrea Mollis. So I'm going to take the Big C pause. We'll bring in Andrea and talk about what's happening in the 2022 NBA Finals on the Big C Sports Podcast. We'll be back in just a moment. Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe and 4 TV applications streaming on TV. Really do appreciate that. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV. I have the pleasure of Andrea Mollis is the best in the business when it comes to sports astrology. And she can attest that the show must go on because we're Virgos. We've had so many technical difficulties, right? But we always find a way. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I know Mercury's retrograde, so expect the unexpected. It's finally coming out of retrograde June 3rd. So we've been dealing with this May 10th to June 3rd in terms of technology snafus, delays, mechanical difficulties.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was flying back from the Mary J. Blige concert in Jamaica, and the airplane got grounded. So at least we're not 30,000 feet in the air doing our show, so all's fair and warm. But I know we're coming up on the 2022 NBA championships with the Golden State Warriors taking on the Boston Celtics, and I know you're the best in the business when it comes to sports astrology. You've been featured, of course, on Big C Sports Podcast. You've been in the New York Times, San Francisco Chronicle, NBC Sports Bay Area, and also NBC Sports California. You know a lot about sports, people. We were talking about this game with Stephen Curry and also Jason Tatum. Give me your thoughts on what you've learned about Stephen Curry as you do the sports astrology. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, it was good timing. It was actually Warriors Media Day. So I got to hear, the Warriors, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and really Steph Curry, he's a Pisces. He's an old soul.
Yes.
He was born March 14, 1988, 1:51 p.m., Akron, Ohio. I actually have a birth time and a place.
Yes.
I think he's born in the same hospital and place as LeBron James.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
That's right.
And yeah, he's really open to astrology. I remember years ago with NBC Sports Bay Area, I shared his astrology chart. And yeah, basically, he was talking about how he's still young, but people were like, oh, you're an old kid. You have a lot of experience. It's amazing when you're like, 30,
34 years old.
People think you're old.
Yeah.
But, the Warriors have home field advantage.
Yeah.
And, this was just a really, he talked about appreciation and gratitude.
Yes.
For the journey.
Yes.
And I really like that. Pisces is very spiritual, very soulful.
Yes.
And it's really very transcendental and empathetic. So he has this really spiritual quality about him.
Yeah, and a lot of the athletes that come to play in San Francisco or Oakland, they all say something in unison, that Steph Curry is a team guy. He's unselfish, even though he's very, very driven, also smart enough to let other people get credit, so he doesn't have to always score the most points in the game, but he does get his team to the 6 NBA Finals, 8 seasons, and to me, that's worth a lot more than scoring the most points in the game. Basically, Andrea, your thoughts?
Yeah, selfless. And it's really nice. It's interesting. Pisces rules the feet.
Oh, really?
He's had some foot injury,
yeah.
Also had hand injury, and it's just nice to have him healthy and back.
Yes, it's amazing.
And, this is just, the Warriors Media Day had some technical issues too, so you're in good company there.
In good company.
So basically, Steph Curry, since we have an accurate birth time, we can look at his 10th house cusp of career.
Yes.
And he has 15 degrees Aries, 10th house, a career. Mars, energy, search, and aggression, about to go in his 10th house of career.
Wow.
Charlton, and this is great. This happens once every 2 years. So really nice timing to have Mars go in the 10th house of career.
That's
10th
amazing.
House is career, your public recognition, success, and Mars is drive for success, concerted drive to reach the top.
Yes.
Or win a contest.
I'll tell you, that is so amazing, Andrea. And about Steph Curry and what you said, of course, his brother plays in the NBA. His father, Dale, played in the NBA. He actually wears a number 30 to pay homage to his father, Dale Curry, a former NBA great basketball player. So let me ask you a question about you, because you are so well connected with athletes from East Coast to West Coast. What started you on this journey to following sports athletes and actually doing sports astrology?
So, what was your question?
What made you get into sports astrology? Because that's a very unique field.
Yes, yeah. I've been a baseball fan since 1973 when my brother taught me baseball during the Match You Gotta Believe magical season. Taught me never to give up on life for your team.
Yes.
And then I branched out to other sports in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I did baseball, sports astrology for the A's, the Giants, and do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life. And it combines my passions of sports and astrology.
Isn't that
I'm
amazing?
learning a lot more about baseball and certainly, basketball.
Yes.
And let me get back to Steph Curry's chart. I think people are tuning in to hear more about that. But thank you.
Go right ahead.
So we have Mars going in the 10th house, which is energy, assertion, aggression. And that's really high energy, good leadership quality, recognition.
Yes.
Happens once every 2 years. So very competitive. So timing is everything.
Yes.
And then we have the sun in harmonious aspect to the 10th house cusp of career.
Yes.
Goals, commitment, recognition, support from others. And here's what I really like. Venus in Taurus right now.
Yes.
It has Venus in Taurus. So he'll be having a Venus return as well. Happens once every year.
Yes.
And that is also, as you would imagine, with Venus, recognition. And, he's not a spotlight seeker, but certainly getting attention. I always like to look ahead and be like, wouldn't that be a nice transit for the parade? Just saying, I went a few years ago.
Yes.
When the parade was at Lake Merritt. That was fun.
And that was amazing. I remember that so much happened. It really brings the Bay Area together. And you're unique because a lot of people may look at a person's numbers and their stats, but you look at birth charts. You look at how the stars are aligning, and some people don't believe in that, but a lot of athletes do. And I really appreciate you talking about Stephen Curry. Let me take you to the others. If there's anything else you want to share about Stephen, go right ahead before I ask you about Jason Tatum, who comes in from Boston. Is there anything else on your mind about Stephen Curry you want to share?
Well, just the last part would be Neptune in Pisces, connecting to his sun in Pisces, which, can be spiritual, but at times can be somewhat confusing. So he really went with the flow on that.
Yep.
And channeled it spiritually. And Jason Tatum, he's quite interesting. They're 10 years apart.
Wow.
So it's the Battle of the Pisces. We have March 3rd, 1998. I don't have an accurate time, but St. Louis, Missouri.
Yes.
For Jason.
Yep. You know what's interesting?
And, it's the Battle of the Pisces and a decade apart.
You know what?
And,
Andrea, you're the only one that can talk about Battle of the Pisces. And most people are just thinking Boston versus Golden State. And the two marquee players of both teams, they share so much in common. And when you give me what you just told me and told our audience, give me your thoughts about Jason Tatum. He has a meteoric rise. They're bringing him on as the next greatest Boston Celtics legend to come out of the East Coast. Give me your thoughts about him. He's a lot like Steph Curry, very, very competitive. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, well, they both were MVPs of the playoffs.
Yep.
That is worth mentioning.
Yes.
And Mars is a crucial planet for an athlete. I always look at where Mars is transiting.
Yes.
And what's aspects to Mars.
Yep.
And Pluto in Capricorn is making a harmonious aspect to Jason's Mars in Pisces.
Wow. That is amazing.
And that is opportunity to achieve your goals. That spirit energy serves you well.
Wow. And you know what?
He's no slouch. This isn't going to be a walk in the park here.
Well, I'm looking at Golden State winning in 6 games based on some things that I know of. And I'm so right on every game so far in the series, getting these two teams here. And I hope that continues. I really just want to see great sports, but my heart is for Golden State, even though I have a love for all of sports. But you know something, too? When you look at Boston, whether it's the Boston Bruins, it could be the Boston Celtics, the Boston Red Sox, New England Patriots, San Francisco with the Warriors, the Giants, the 49ers. and even throwing in the A's for that matter. These are two great teams colliding in San Francisco, and ironically, Bill Russell went to USF and played for the Boston Celtics. And we have so much talk. Chamberlain played for the Warriors back in the day when they played back in 1964. It's been a long time, about 58 years since they last got on the circuit.
Wow, that's interesting. And now they have home court advantage.
Yes.
The Warriors' home court advantage is huge.
Yes.
And they're playing Thursday at 6 at Chase Center, then Sunday.
Yep.
Then June 8th. Mercury's finally out of retrograde.
Yes.
On Sunday. June 10th, the 13th, if needed, the 16th and 19th.
Yep.
So it's really nice that they have that home court advantage. I like that quite a bit. And again, back to Jason Tatum, Pluto in sextile Mars, great energy for realizing his ambitions, fulfilling his desires.
Yes.
Focused and purposeful. So he's determined and he's persistent in his own way.
Yes, very much so. We just hope it doesn't happen this year.
Leadership qualities as well.
Yes, that's very true. But I'll tell you what, Andrea, we don't want them to be too focused in this series because I know they say don't be partial, but I know my heart, it bleeds like the Golden State Warriors. Been watching them since for many years when I came out here and in the Bay Area and just saw so many great things and being a part of growing up in Northern California too. So I let a lot of passion. But before we close, I know you've given some thoughts on Steph Curry and Jason Tatum. Is there anything else you want to mention before I have you promote your site and how more athletes can tune in to what you do, because you really do a valuable service, Andrea?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm going to post your wonderful podcast when it's done on Twitter.
Yes.
At Virgo in Service. My website is virgoinservice.com. And my email, Andrea, at virgoinservice.com. They can also call a message.
Yes.
Anytime, 510-874-4911. And I did want to add something about Steve Kerr, if I may.
Yes, please. Please do.
Yeah. No, I was really struck by his chart as well. He's born September 27, 1965. Beirut, Lebanon.
Yes.
And we just had an eclipse in Scorpio, that super full blood flower moon eclipse.
Yep.
And he happens to have Mars in Scorpio. So that really charged up his Mars, and he took a really passionate stand and walked the talk about, gun control and what happened with the school shooting. And, then the Giants manager, Gabe Kapler, did his protest as well.
Yes.
And Steve's father, as you may know, was assassinated in Lebanon. I think he was a university president.
Yes, he was.
So he knows of what he speaks.
Yeah.
So he really was very passionate. He's Libra, so he likes fairness and balance and harmony.
Yes.
He has 3 planets in Scorpio, so he has that passion and that strength. And his chart looks positive as well. And I looked at the Celtic coach real quick. Udoka, August 7, 1977.
Okay.
And he's a Leo, king of the zodiac. Mars in Gemini. The sun is in Gemini now, connecting to his Mars.
Yep.
So he's high energy. But obviously, I like the Warriors, and I think the planets will reign and
I
go
agree.
Dubs, and it should be a very exciting series.
I tell you, Andrea, I appreciate so much about you and what you do. You do a valuable service for so many people, and I really do appreciate your thoughts on reading the signs for Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, Golden State Warriors, Boston Celtics, and also throwing in Steve Kerr and Coach Udoka. I really do appreciate you coming on with Big C Sports Podcast. I think you're amazing, and I too want you to win a championship. If the Golden State Warriors win this, Coach Kerr will be 22-2 in his playoffs since he's been in the playoffs coaching the Golden State Warriors. And it's also 2022, if that makes sense to you. So that makes a lot of sense. I want to thank you, Andrea Mollis. Virgo and Surf, you're doing an excellent job. I appreciate you. I'm going to take what's called the Big C Talk. And when I come back, I'm going to talk more about sports and the NBA Finals. Thank you, Andrea Mollis, for joining the Big C Sports Podcast. And we will see you down the road.
Yes, it was a pleasure to be an astrological service. And go Warriors, go Dubs. Looks like it's going to be very exciting and intense this season. We're playing for the playoffs and the finals.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Andrea, I'll catch you down the road. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, we're back on the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 20 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. We're streaming on 4 TV applications: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Really do appreciate that. Just talking more about the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics taking on the 2022 NBA Finals. At the great Andrea Malo from Virgo and Service. She really focuses on sports astrology, and a lot of athletes buy into it. And so do I, based on the reading that she gave me. A lot of miracles are happening. So the 2022 NBA Finals are set. This year, 2 of the NBA's most decorated franchises in the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors will come out and they face off for a chance to take on the Larry O'Brien Trophy. For Golden State, it's a 6th final trip in 8 seasons, while Boston is in the NBA Finals for the 22nd time in franchise history. And it's amazing how many great things are happening with these teams. Are actually 17-4 in their great finals history. Even though for Boston, most of their finals appearances came back in the 60s. In the 70s, they had a couple runs in the 80s with Larry Bird, All-Star and Leavenworth. But Russell was in 11 of 13 finals. No ever going to match that mark. So a lot of the Celtics history came early, back in the 60s. And for the Warriors, it's been of late, the last decade or so, with the Golden State Warriors. And they will, think about this, will Golden State extend their dynasty by winning the 7th title in franchise history? I say yes, they're going to do it in 6 games. Or will the Celtics reclaim their stake as the NBA's most successful franchise with their 18th NBA championship? But again, going back to the 60s, that's when the Celtics were more known for their dominance than the Golden State Warriors are doing it right now. No matter what you feel, no matter what team you're rooting for, this stuff is real. And it's rare for sports to have such a dominant team that goes from wire to wire. The Warriors did it in the decade of the 2010 through 20. And now here again in 2022. And Steph Curry's been at the helm for both of these great storied franchises. Boston Celtics led by Jason Tatum. Also the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry. But there's so much more to it. I really feel by the end of this, Andrew Wiggins will be a big part in the Golden State Warriors winning this series, as well as Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. And of course, the Celtics have their own crew of people that will come out and try to put their mark on the NBA Finals. But it really starts with Jason Tatum, in my opinion, for the Boston Celtics. That's where they're built up as the next Larry Bird, and they will ride as far as he can take them. I do feel that no matter how you feel about the NBA Finals, to be in San Francisco, it's such a great place. It's so beautiful out here in the Golden State Warriors territory. I know there are people in Oakland that feel, well, they really wish they would have stayed in Oakland, but they started in San Francisco when they came here. And I think that for the Bay Area fans, they really represent all of Northern California. It's not just for San Francisco. In fact, it's so difficult to get a ticket to see Golden State play. I really feel for people that really love this basketball team because they can't get into a game. Same thing in Boston. I know everybody has their own about sports and tickets being way too expensive, but I really feel that because of all the ways to watch TV and to listen on radio, I still like to listen to the games on the radio. I will turn down the music or down the sound on the television and listen to it on the radio. That's because, to me, it just makes so much sense that way. I love doing it that way, and I can hear more detail, and I think a lot of old time do that way too. Some people want to have the TV turned up, but just try every now and then and turn down the volume on the TV. I'm sure TV don't ever say that, but I think the play-by-play on the radio, they do a much better job calling games than television. That's just my opinion. I think Kevin Looney will have a great series. He's a big rebounder for the Golden State Warriors. Jordan Poole, obviously, he'll come in and do his thing. Draymond Green, he's like the engine. He's like the Babe Ruth. He's big and strong, and you can get across him because his shoulders are broad, and he carries a lot of the emotion that the Golden State Warriors have. Stephen Curry, say no more about him. He's the best shooter in the history of the NBA basketball, and there are people who say, yeah, he doesn't score the most points in a final. If that's the case, how is he in the finals for the 6th time in 8 years? It's not about who eats the most food at the dinner table. It's about the person that prepares the food. Give that some praise. The person that prepares the food may not always be the one that eats the most food. That makes sense to you. Klay Thompson, he's going to do his thing in the NBA Finals as well. And I really do appreciate that we have so much going in Northern California, and everybody has their thoughts about it. If you're in Boston, you have your own thoughts about can this green machine, call them the Green Goblin, can they get back to that great days of the Boston Celtics? Jason Tatum, obviously, he's the marquee player for the Boston Celtics. Al Horford, the first time in his life being able to play in an NBA Finals. He's been around the block many, many times. Jaylen Brown's also a solid player. Marcus Smart is also good for the Boston Celtics, but I don't think they can come in and take down the Golden State Warriors. It's just so much going for Golden State. They run so deep. It's not about one person. And just to show you my point, when you think about the marquee player for the Boston Celtics, there's only one name. That's Jason Tatum. That's it. When you think about the marquee player for Golden State, it runs deep. There's a lot more players than just Steph Curry. And, of course, you look at Steve Kerr. He's been so much under the tutelage of Coach Popovich. And when he was learning down there on the staff with the San Antonio Spurs, also playing with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, doing his thing there, and then learning with the Golden State Warriors. So he's been with three great organizations that have all won championships. You can't knock that. There's a lot to overcome, and he'll go to 22-2 in playoff series when they win the NBA championship. There's no guarantee of anything, but there is a guarantee that they've been the most successful franchise in the NBA over the last decade, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and I think they'll count themselves. You want to count them? If they win this game, I think Golden State Warriors will win the 2022 NBA championship, and Boston will put up a good fight, but they'll come up short as Golden State will close out in 6 games. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, we're going to talk about more in the sports universe. In the words of former California governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back on the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe and streaming on 4 TV applications. Also, for the good old boys, we just talked about the NBA Finals with the great Andrea Mauer. She's amazing. She does sports astrology. Really do appreciate her. Also, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Rangers getting ready. In fact, they're already underway in the NHL Conference Finals in the Eastern. I mean, there's so much going on in the world of sports. We have NBA Finals step by crawl. We have hockey right in the swing of things, looking for a Lord Stanley's Cup. Yesterday, I'm telling you, so much is great. The Avalanche defeated the Edmonton Oilers 8-6 yesterday, and so there's a lot of people who tune into hockey. But I kind of feel bad for hockey because it cannot compete with the NBA. It's like hardly anything can compete with the Super Bowl. A lot of things can't. And they have right now, it's just a matter of how the sports come together. But Lord Stanley Cup playoff, and the Rangers are there, the Lightning of Tay in Edmonton, and also the Colorado Avalanche. I try to imagine following Game 1 in the conference finals, and that's exactly what the New York Rangers and Tampa Bay Lightning were tasked to do tonight as they collide on Broadway. It's Broadway for Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Final. And New York wanted the champion. Well, you got to take care of the Lightning. So much for wanting to win a championship, you got to play one of the hottest franchises in the history of the universe. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, all fair level were. But I wish them all well. It doesn't matter who you are. If you want to win, you got to take down the best teams in order to get that to happen. So I wish all the teams nothing but the best, whether the Colorado Avalanche, the Edmonton Oilers, the New York Rangers, or the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, we're going to talk about some more sports in the history of the sports universe. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back for the pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You follow Big C Sports 4 hours a day, 7 days on 23 podcast applications all over the universe. Really appreciate that. And also streaming on 4 TV applications. I'm going to get into Disney's Major League Baseball Top 20. It's just my opinion, and everybody. I'm going to start number 20 with whether you believe it or not, I think the Baltimore Orioles, and they won't continue for a playoff spot just yet. and they are firmly out of pushover territory. And they've gone 6-5 last week and half against the Yankees, the Rays, and the Red Sox. They came back from an 8-2 deficit in 3 innings on Friday. So I'm going to put them at number 20 in Big C's Major League Baseball top 20. Number 19, I'm going to go with Cleveland. This is for you, the Guardians. Remember, it's a time where sports is dominating everything. The Guardians, they've changed their name, obviously, for good purposes. And then Tuesday or Friday, they had 2 doubleheaders, and they have won a series since then. But they're a much better team than they were last year. I'm going to go with number 18 in Big C's Major League Baseball rankings. You think about the Arrows and Diamondbacks. Now they've lost 8 in a row against the Dodgers. And the news is they won't see them again in September. And they're saying, thank goodness back. That's a tough one, everybody. But I think about it, we play them in 9 times and 11 days, yet another reminder of how the scheduling really did benefit them, if that makes sense to you. Another great in Big C, Major League Baseball, top 20, going with Philadelphia Freedom. Actually, they're Philadelphia. You think about it, at some point you wonder if they're going to get fired again, and they'll make that as one pickers. But I think sticking with managers until at least the end of the season, that's my opinion. I take it with it. And the way things change, Big C's number 16 Major League Baseball power ranking, the team won it all last year, and they still have a chance to turn things around. You got to look at the Atlanta Braves, the night change of Georgia, and maybe the time to get on them. It might be a good run. The Braves have a very weak upcoming schedule, not playing above 500 until June 20th, and it's the Giants who might be under 500 by then, but the Giants are also rolling. It's like airplane turbulence. Today has been a lot of technical difficulty. Platforms, the Golden Warriors had a media day. There's always some media issues going on. There are people on their airplane flight down it for a day because they got to fix some technical difficulties, and also getting big sports all around the day. It's like thunder and lightning showed up, all spread love and war. I'm going to go with number 15 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The Texas Rangers. Now, they haven't been above 500 all year, and they were 5 outs away from evening things up on 23 Sunday. When you think about this, they blew the game, but you can't. The past is not in the future. Look at the Boston Celtics. There was a time when people wonder if they would even make the playoffs, and they're in the NBA Finals and just winners of the Eastern Conference, all fair love and war. I'm going to go number 14 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. You look at last limb, the Chicago White Sox literally has them playing okay. Again, they got to get better. But I think about last night in his first week after on Sunday, and he had 39 pitches. And so no one thinks they're going to take the baseball by storm. But with LaRusso on the mound and as a manager, they always have a chance to figure things out. So I like the Chicago White Sox finish strong. I'm going to go with number 13 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The Boston Red Sox. Is Boston or the Red Sox the favorite team from Boston? Would it be the Celtics, or would it be the Bruins, or would it be the New England Patriots? I'm still going to say no matter who's winning and how much championship teams have, I still think the Red Sox, if you're in Boston, you get a chance to buy a ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals of the, let's say, the ALCS, or the Eastern Conference Championship of the NBA. Or you look at the Boston Bruins, or maybe the AFC Championship with the Patriots. I think most people would still go see the Red Sox. I may be wrong, but that's the feeling that Boston Red Sox always sell out no matter how strong they're playing, if that makes sense to you. But I think about they're battling back the champions, Joe Mauer and Kirby Puckett, Tony Oliva, and then Rock Crew. Think about this. Why did I put the answer? Because J.D. Martinez is actually the leader in average above right now, batting about 379 on his batting average, so he's a good player. Boston will always support the Red Sox no matter what. I'm going to go with Big C's number 12 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I think the Angels have now lost 9 of the last 12, but that doesn't mean they're not a good team. They still have the great Shohei Ohtani. Of course, Mike Trout is a fan favorite down in Anaheim, so they will do their thing. Still going to put them in at number 12 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. Number 11 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I'm going to look at the city by the bay, the San Francisco Giants, because there's gold in them near hills, and it's not just the Golden State Warriors. I think about the Giants, how they are a good team, and Kepler also took a stand on what's going on with our country with gun control. Colin Kaepernick also took a stand, protest and stop violence, and he actually lost his job. And a lot of other people don't have the same faith, but they're all looking for the same thing, which is liberty and justice for all, and how to make our country safer. But I think about what happened. They had a win over the Mets, and there was a brief thought that maybe they were back on track, and they lost 2 or 3 to the Reds and were nearly swept. But again, a lot of turbulence and a lot of things happening today. I still feel that the San Francisco Giants will be right there in the thick of things, competing for the National League West, even though The Dodgers have a lot to say about it, as well as the San Diego Padres. I'm going to go number 10 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I have the St. Louis Cardinals, and Nolan Gorman went 4 for 18 on the week, and all 4 hits came in one game. The Cardinals have a beautiful stadium. They actually took care of the Padres when they came into the Busch Stadium, so they're a good team, and they will definitely make some noise as we get closer to the playoffs, if that makes sense to you. I'm going to go to Canada for number 9 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The Toronto Blue Jays, they've won 9 of 12. They scored 35 runs during their 5-game winning streak, and they are a team that can hit the ballpark out of the ballpark anywhere they go. So they're a team that's going to make a lot of noise coming down the stretch in the American League, in my opinion, and that's what I'm sticking to. Also, number 8 Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. This city has a lot of champions, more so than Miami. You got to go to Tampa. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just won the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl 55 a couple of years ago. And you always have the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're always searching for Lloyd Stanley's Cup. And now you have the Tampa Bay Rays. So they're a great sports town in Tampa, even though people think of Miami as a great sports town. But they battled back to get a split. That was a success. They gained down on the Yankees and present themselves as a challenge. They are a tough team, and that's a great city, even though people think you go to Tampa to retire. As Tom Brady told you, they retire, but only for 40 days. And then come back. Number 7 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Twins. And the Twins have had 4 winners of the battling title in club history. Can you name when you think about it? This is a team in a great city that's crazy about the Minnesota Vikings, the Purple People Eaters. They have the Minnesota Timberwolves that had a nice one in the playoffs this year. And the Minnesota, right now, I just think about the Minnesota Twins. They're a good team, but maybe I would say if you look at that, see, everyone loves the Minnesota Vikings more than anybody else. I'm going to go down to Texas, JRU's territory, to go to Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. Number 16 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings, the Houston Astros with the great Dusty Baker. When you think about it, in his first 8 starts, the great Justin Verlander, he allowed 4 home runs. In his 9th, he allowed 4 home runs. Think about this. He was the first time in his career that he gave up at least 4 home runs in a game, and the first time since 2018. And you think about how great he is as a dominant in the baseball universe. Dusty Baker has his team rolling. They came up short last year to that midnight train to Georgia, but they'll be knocking on the door again with the Houston Astros, all fair and level war. I'm going to go with number 5 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings, the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm telling you, there's something about that team. People think about the Green Bay Packers up in Wisconsin, but this week was a lot stronger. With a 4-3 record might suggest the Brewers did down the road against 2 very good ball clubs. After having previously the weakest schedule in the majors, they're a great team and coming on at the right time. Put the number 5 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I'm going to go to number 4. I got to swing it out to the West Coast. The San Diego Padres. Mackenzie Gore is now sitting with a 1.71 ERA through his first 42 Major League Baseball innings. He struck out 47. San Diego has a great baseball team. The only problem is they play in the National League West with the Dodgers and the Giants. But if you want to beat the best or be the best, you got to beat the best, and they are definitely trying to beat the best, if that makes sense to you. And now I'm going to bring you up to number 3 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The New York Mets, Pete Alonso, and the Mets set franchise record for home runs with 53 in 2019. He came 4 RBI short of the 120 in 1999 by the great Mike Piazza. In 2008 by Dwight Wright, he had 124. Alonso has 46 in 49 games right now, which is a pace for 152. He's not going to hit 152, but he's picking up the bat and sending the ball out in the play, so that's good for the Mets. Can they hold up? Do they have the stamina to get somebody in New York City to win something? They're going to do their best. Number 2 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. You talk about the Yankees win. The Yankees win. Well, they lost 5 of 9, and it feels like half the team is hurt, and yet they're still up by 4.5 games. I love the Yankees. I feel that Major League Baseball is always better when the Yankees are able to do their thing and get on the mound and hit deep and get home runs. What a great scene at Yankee Stadium, and their prime to try, at least we hope, to make another run at a World Series pursuit. I know they've done it so many times over the years, like every decade they're doing their thing, but it's been a long time. We'll see what happens is the boys in pinstripes out of New York City. And now, some people might get tired of saying this, but number one in Big C's Major League Baseball universe is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Chavez Ravine, the finest. They won 13-15, and the 2 losses by 1 run apiece. And one of them was a routine grounder being clearly fielded away from a win. I tell you, there's something about this Los Angeles Dodgers team. Not many people outside of Los Angeles really care about the Dodgers. There's so much talk that, well, they have more money than anybody, and they can buy championships. Well, most teams try to buy championships. And when you look at the Dodgers, they're put themselves in a position to be great. They spend money. And when you think about where they are in Los Angeles, Chavez Ravine, they spent a lot of money renovating that stadium over the years. It's still one of the more antiquated stadiums in baseball, but they renovated it. And it's in a beautiful location at Chavez Ravine in Los Angeles. So there will always be a draw to come to Los Angeles. There's so many things that people can do outside of just playing sports. So that's what I love also about seeing the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're representing themselves well. Dodger Blue, always a leader-robbing crowd. That's part of LA because the traffic can be so bad. But one thing you cannot turn down about the Dodgers, they're always a playoff team. They're always spending money on the right players. Every single year, they become really the New England Patriots of Major League Baseball back in the days when Tom Brady, even when Brady was there. I don't know if you can say New England's the same now, but they're like the Golden State Warriors of baseball. They're always knocking on the door for a championship. So that's my thoughts. That's Big C's baseball power rankings. Give that some praise. I'm going to take the Big C pause, also known as the Big E timeout. When I come back, I'm going to talk more about what's going on in the sports universe. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back for the Big C pause, also known as Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that, and streaming on 4 TV applications all around the world. Really do love what's going on in the world of sports. And I always tell people there's something that I'm looking forward to. It's called desserts. When it's time to eat, you can try the Big C burger. You know, it's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all those exotic meats. A lot of guys love eating hamburgers. Big C's burger is one of the favorite burgers out there in the history of the universe. Also, the Big C cherry pie coming soon. It's my Big C pie. Tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hands. As most things in life taste better in your mouth than it does in your hands. But one of my favorite desserts, whether it's I would say apple pie. Everybody loves apple pie. Pumpkin pie is good. Gotta love that pumpkin pie. Cherry pie is good. But I love peach cobbler. That's one of my favorite desserts. Really do appreciate that. But if you've ever tasted what's called chocolate fantasy, I'm not talking about the very white chocolate fantasy. I'm talking about it comes with a big cookie crust and has chocolate filling in the middle of it with some coconut on the top of it. Man, it tastes so good. It makes you go, ooh, yeah. I love it very much. And so I want to give Big C's desserts some praise, if that makes sense to you. I also want to cover, before we close out today, and again, I thank the great Andrea Mollis. She does a great deal on sports astrology. And I just really appreciate how amazing she is. And she nails it pretty much on all of the sports athletes. Really do appreciate that. She's been doing it for a long time. I want to take you across to the East Coast. The New York Jets and their OTAs, Zach Wilson. He kind of ups and downs for Zach Wilson. And Jordan Whitehead and DJ Reed draw a lot of praise from the coaches. And the New York Jets hosted an open, organized team activity called OTA workout on Wednesday. And quarterback Zach Wilson, he had his up and down play out of BYU. He'll be better as the season progresses. But the Jets have a long way to go in a short time to get there, if that makes sense to you. Now, the Miami Dolphins, when you think about some of the observations, it was quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. He took his lumps. Miami Dolphins minicamp got underway on Wednesday, and the defense got the best of the third-year quarterback out of Alabama by way of St. Louis High School in Honolulu, Hawaii. So we'll see what happens with the Miami Dolphins, if Tua's going to be their long-term choice for the chance to get Miami back in the days of winning, if that makes sense to you. And I really do appreciate what happened with the words of, I just got to tell you this thought. When I first got into broadcast with Fox Sports as a Chiron assistant and specialty statistician, it was with the late John Madden and the late Pat Summerall. It was a San Francisco 49ers game at the old Candlestick Park versus the San Diego Chargers. And I'll never get how, when I did stats for John Madden and Pat Summerall, specialty stats, and I learned a lot being in the press box with John Madden and Pat Summerall. Well, I think a very great thing was just done. Madden 23, the cover is going to be John Madden, featured on the cover in a special tribute to the coaching legend. And the announcement of the Madden 23 cover will see EA Sports return roots as a legendary figure and return it to its rightful place. A lot of people know John Madden as the sports guy, not necessarily the broadcaster. A lot of young people, they think about it as Madden, the EA Sports. They don't think about it as the guy that coached the Oakland Raiders to the championship, All-Star 11 War. But I really do appreciate EA Sports making John Madden, the late John Madden, on the cover of that. So I want to give them some praise for doing that and paying homage to one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NFL. Really do appreciate that. Also, some NFL news and rumors. When you think about all the news and rumors happening around the NFL, and when I think about so many great players and quarterbacks that are going to be playing for 2022, when you think about them, it doesn't go much further than, in my opinion, I like Patrick Mahomes. There's also a lot of people that think Josh Allen out of tiny Fireball High School in Central California by way of Wyoming. I think he also went to Kings River Junior Cup, that he's going to climb the stack. But when you jump around the NFL's best position ever in terms of quarterback position, which makes the top NFL quarterbacks in 2022, it's very challenging. More than a dozen with star potential in any given season, and most play different styles in a different offensive system, and the weapons they have on display plays a huge part in how well they play. Going back to the 2021 draft class was highly coveted, but struggled mightily as rookies, and there are no 2020 rookies on the list because they haven't played a snap yet. But I think the world will be taken by storm when you see the 49ers under the Shanahan system bring in Trey Lance that played at North Dakota State. He is a run-pass option. It reminds me a lot of Colin Kaepernick when he took the 49ers to the Super Bowl with a run-pass option. They just got to give some faith in him and have some faith in him that he has a strong arm. He can run out of the pocket and buy you some time downfield. They just got to figure out what to do with Deebo Samuel and keep him healthy. But I really do like what Lance is going to do. I know they still have Jimmy G, and what will they do with Jimmy G is all a matter of how they work it out with the 49ers brass, and they will deal with that as we know. But I'm going to look at Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, he's everybody's must-see quarterback, number one, in my opinion. And when I think about Patrick Mahomes as a title contender every single year, you got to look at the Kansas City Chiefs. He didn't have the best playoff run. I thought they should have beaten the Cincinnati Bengals, but he had one of the worst second halves I've ever seen an NFL quarterback have. But he will probably be making amends for that next year, but he's going to have to do it without Tyreek Hill, who's now down in Miami. So when you think about it, you only have so many opportunities to make it to the Super Bowl. But he was in the AFC Championship games 4 years in a row. That may end this year because there's so many great players and great teams. The Raiders are going to be strong. I feel that the Chargers will be strong, and Denver will be strong, and that's just in their division alone. That's not even looking at Cleveland, and also the Pittsburgh Steelers under Tomlin will always be a playoff team. Got to even look at the New England Patriots where they make a comeback, All-Star 11 War. I just like so much going on with what's happening in the world of NFL. But talented quarterbacks galore. There's a lot of people who think that maybe this is the year that Kansas City falls from the AFC Championship game. And maybe they will. There's another quarterback that I'm looking at very strong. His name is Josh Allen. Played at Fireball High School in Central California. I believe he went to Kings River Junior College in Reedley and then went to the University of Wyoming. I don't know why Fresno State didn't give him a chance. But Josh Allen is in the middle of being one of the greater quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe over the next 10 years. He's a run-pass option. And right now, when you think about this guy, 6'5", weighing about 235 pounds, he's a run-pass option for the Buffalo Bills. Takes a lot of pressure off their passing game. And when you give him a chance to run out of the pocket, he's just as dangerous, a lot like Colin Kaepernick, who should get a chance with somebody this year. And that's my opinion. But you got to have guys that can make you pay on defense if you break containment. And he does that. You can't drop back and cover the deep pass because you know he can run for a first down. He uses his frame and his ability to run and pass to the best ability for the Buffalo Bills. He averaged 6.2 yards per carry on 120 rushes last year. That's amazing. He's the quarterback. And the scary part about Allen, he's not done. As a passer, he just gets better. He still has days where he's going to click better with the receivers, and I really think that that's going to help him get really stronger in the AFC. I don't want to look past touchdown Aaron Rodgers. I know he lost his top receiver, and that's part of what happens in the NFL. But when you think about back-to-back NFL MVPs and his third best at his position, one could be upset that he's not the top guy in this league. He's 38 years old and arguably the best quarterback still in the NFL. I know people knock him on only having one Super Bowl appearance, but it's hard to get back to the Super Bowl. There's a lot of guys that will never get there, and he's already been there and always knocking on the door. I really love the way Aaron Rodgers plays, but what will they do without Devontae Adams? That will go a long way in determining what happens to the Green Bay Packers, because he's the real deal, and I really know that a lot of people want to look at him and say, what can we do without the great Aaron Rodgers having his favorite target over the years? There's another great quarterback coming on strong, Justin Herbert, for the Los Angeles Chargers out of Oregon. He's a great run-pass option. This guy is amazing. Won the Rose Bowl back at Oregon in the Pac-12, and now he's coming on maybe stronger than a lot of people thought he would. There are people that maybe question his ability to lead an NFL team, but I've always liked him since he came out of Oregon. I think he's just going to prosper in the AFC. There's also talk about Joe Burrow for the Cincinnati Bengals. There might be the Super Bowl hangover, but he's had a lot of good luck going at LSU when they won a national championship, and then getting into the NFL, got his knee torn up, and his first season came back very strong and led the Cincinnati Bengals to Super Bowl 56. I'm telling you, he's a good player, but can they get back after that Super Bowl jinx of maybe teams not making the playoffs the next year? I'm going to close with a quarterback that takes a lot of flack for no reason. The Dallas Cowboys' Dak Prescott. When I think about his transformation, what he was in 2018 to now has been incredible to witness. He went from being sacked once every 10 dropbacks in 2018 to 23 times in just one offseason. He's also incredibly accurate at throwing the ball downfield. But he does play with a Dallas Cowboys team that oftentimes has a lot of pressure from the owner, Jerry Jones, and stepping in the way of McCarthy trying to do his thing. We will see what happens. But I like the Dallas Cowboys, and they're consistently top because of Dak Prescott. No matter what people think about that, I think they're going to have a fine season this year, all friend and more. So I just want to tell you, I appreciate so much about what's going on with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to give thanks to the great Andrea Mollis she does sports astrology, virgoandservice.com. You can just Google her on the website. A lot of sports athletes believe in her, and she does a very good job. Really do appreciate her coming on Big C Sports Podcast. Well, that's it for today's show. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, "You're floating butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble young man, rumble with all you got to use, how can you lose?" And Ali would say, "I'm so pretty, I can possibly defeat, because all the Big C burgers make me land on my feet." If that makes sense to you. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child will ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that crap, pick up the phone and call 911. Things change when the police show up. If that makes sense to you. No man, woman, or child will ever have to put up with that garbage. And as we always tell you, please don't drink and drive. If you know anyone thinking about driving, please don't let them drink. Take the keys, call Uber, call a cab, whatever you got to do to keep people safe. As I always tell you, thank you for following Big C Sports on every Big C Sports show. We thank you. We appreciate you. And we hope that you have a super fantastic day. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. The great Jesse Jackson. Keep hope alive.